Namaste. Thank you for taking this journey with me into the realms of everything health and consciousness. Today, we are exploring adaptogens and Ayurveda and adaptogenic herbs and how we can use adaptogens and their profound healing qualities in our modern, hectic, sometimes stress-filled day-to-day life. We're going to look at what are adaptogens, what are some common adaptogens, and their proper use. Ayurveda, really this ancient wisdom, the knowledge of life, offers profound insights into our holistic well-being, balancing our body, mind, and spirit. We've talked about that before. In this episode, we're talking about the beginning of herbal practices, and central to Ayurveda are the use of herbs to help us heal from imbalances, as well as maintaining equilibrium in the body. Herbs are not just a capsule, a pill that we pop for whatever reason we're popping them. There's a million different herbs being promoted on the market and sold in every health food store, even the main stores like Walmart or something. They're selling herbs, including Ayurvedic herbs. Most of those, what you find on the shelf, are pretty low quality and have very little medicinal value. A very important thing is sourcing high quality, tested herbs, not just that they've been tested to be free of heavy metals and toxins, but that they actually have the medicine in them that they're supposed to, that they were grown in organic soil or at least mineral-rich, dense, nutrient topsoil. Even modern farming practices, there's a way of growing herbs and farming that's in alignment with the sun and the moon and the stars and the earth's biorhythms that support the prana, the life force in the herbs and the ojas in the herbs to be really of potent quality. So that's the first thing I would just want to share is that we need to have good quality herbs. You can't just go buy anything off the shelf. Adaptogenic herbs in our modern time, I think, are one of the most important herbal categories that we need to explore. Ayurvedic herbs that are adaptogens, or any herb that's an adaptogen, are plants or roots or a substance that helps the body to adapt to stress and to restore balance. So we're going to explore this in depth and how these different adaptogenic substances work on the different bodily systems and organs and what their unique properties are. Ultimately, adaptogens are used in herbal medicine, especially Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, and indigenous wisdom plant medicine. Again, it supports the body's stress response, but they also increase our energy and our stamina while promoting mental clarity. And I think probably the best quality of them is that it enhances our resilience to physical, emotional, and environmental stressors to begin with. So they're amazing preventative substances. So understanding adaptogens, what are they? Ultimately, an adaptogen breaks down to any natural substance, predominantly herbs and roots, that enhance the body's resilience to stress, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional stress. The term adaptogen was coined by a Russian scientist who described these herbs as substances that essentially normalize bodily functions in response to stress. Now, we've had adaptogens for as long as we've been on the planet. It was just termed adaptogen in the 1940s. The origin of that word, it's Latin, adaptare, which means to adjust or fit, and the suffix gen, producing or generating. So ultimately, adaptogen literally translates to a substance that generates adaptation. And for survival, we need to adapt. For thriving, we need to adapt. For any growth, we need to adapt. What qualifies an herb or a plant or a substance as an adaptogen is three major components. One is that it needs to have a non-specific action, which means that it supports multiple systems of the body without targeting a specific organ. And ultimately, an adaptogen supports the whole system. The second qualification in identifying an adaptogen is that it normalizes our physiology. What that means is that it restores balance regardless of whether the system is overactive or underactive. And then the third one is that it's non-toxic. It must be safe for long-term use and have no or minimal side effects. Those are the three qualifications for adaptogens: non-specific action, normalizing physiology, and it's non-toxic over a long period of time. What makes an adaptogen work is that they interact with the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And on a major part of that is that is our immune system and nervous system. But it's fundamentally the system responsible for managing our stress response. It's what tells us that we're in danger to run, to fight, or to freeze. What puts us back into a autonomic balanced state of regulation in response to stress once that danger is over. The first real way it does this is regulates our cortisol level. That's the main stress hormone. So when we take an adaptogenic substance, it modulates the release of that stress hormone cortisol. In nature, say a gazelle was chased across the plains by a cheetah and it escapes somehow. What it does after that danger is over, it shakes, and that releases the excess of cortisol. That's another thing. That's an adaptogen. We can shake. It's completely safe. It's non-toxic. But there's herbs that will do this too. And then the second way that an adaptogen works in our body is that it does enhance our cellular energy production. In Ayurveda, that's called Pilu Chitta Agni. It's the fire. It's the intelligence within a soul. It releases ATP, energy production. That's the mitochondria. So the adaptogenic substance supports mitochondrial function to improve our overall energy levels. When we're under stress, especially for longer periods of time, chronic stress, it depletes ojas. It depletes our vitality, our immunity, our longevity. So taking adaptogenic herbs restores that ojas to some level. The other super important effect of an adaptogen is that it prevents oxidative stress and it helps us to heal from oxidative stress. Everyone must have heard by now the damage that happens when there's free radicals, the free radical damage. And everyone's trying to get more and more antioxidants, and there's a million antioxidant substances being sold on the market. And basically, herbs are the best antioxidant. I mean, breathing clean air is a phenomenal antioxidant as well, walking in nature. But herbally, an adaptogen is an herb that does protect against that oxidative stress. And if there is free radical damage, it helps to reduce it. And the final real way that an adaptogen works is that it supports the PNEI axis, the psychoneuroendocrine immunological function, all neuroendocrine function. And what that means is that it balances both our hormones and our neurotransmitters that improve our emotional and physical well-being. We have neurohormones, we have reproductive hormones. We produce all these neurotransmitters. Most of those are in the gut. And biologically, what happens when we're stressed, again, like if imagine we're a cheetah in the plains of Africa or we're a deer, an elk, a gazelle being chased by a cheetah or any kind of predator, our body sends these stress hormone messengers first to the gut. And there's two reasons it does that. One is that if we're really hungry and we want to stop and have a meal, we become the meal in nature. So it shuts off that biological need to eat in that moment. Also, 93% of our neurohormones, neurotransmitters are produced in the gut, and that is our contentment and peace hormones, the serotonin, the dopamine. If we're content and peace, we're just going to be zen while the cheetah comes and eats us. So it turns off the contentment and happiness hormones and tells us to run. Also, our gut intelligence, that's the fire. That's the intelligence of the body. We need to really tune into our gut intuition. It tells us so much, but it sends that fire to the brain, to the eyes, to the brain, and puts us on high alert. Where's the danger? Where do I run? Where do I go to hide? And so it's life-saving for a short period of time. The other place that those stress hormones are sent naturally is to the reproductive system for two reasons. One is that if we want to stop and procreate, that's also not going to necessarily save our life. And the reproductive system is the seat of ojas. It's the reserved energy. So it's borrowing energy. It's borrowing energy from the future. It's our reserve of energy for our lifespan. And so it borrows that, but it also depletes that if that chronic stress is going on for too long. So the support of the neuroendocrine system is absolutely essential. And in the modern day, even if we live a relatively peaceful, moderated life, there's EMFs, there's toxins in the air, there's toxins everywhere. Many of those are natural. that are unavoidable. And we need adaptogens to support our system throughout our life. Ayurveda, with its focus on individuality and balance, has really incorporated these adaptogenic herbs into a basic dinacharya, a daily routine, a ritucharya, a seasonal routine, in order to address built-up of stress, to enhance our vitality, to improve our resilience throughout our life. Many of these in Ayurveda are known as rasayana herbs. Rasayana means rejuvenative. Any substance that rejuvenates the body, enhances immunity, and promotes longevity is a rasayana. So having adaptogenic rasayana herbs is even more beneficial. One of the key components in Ayurveda, as we know, is the tridosha theory, the 3 doshas, the 5 elements, and keeping those in balance. And we need to look at how those adaptogens relate to the 3 doshas as well. With a vata dosha, remember, they can be high anxiety, high stress. Adaptogens help them to calm the nervous system and enhance their grounding into being in the body more. With a pitta constitution, pittas are hot and inflamed a lot, so adaptogens reduce inflammation in the body, reduce acidity, and cool the mind and the nervous system down. And with a kapha, they tend to be more sluggish. Maybe they go into the freeze state when they're in chronic stress. And what the adaptogen is going to do for a kapha is stimulate the metabolic energy. It's going to stimulate the metabolism, the digestive fire. So they're not just digesting food, they're digesting life's experience as well. And as we talked about, adaptogens are energizing. So it energizes the kapha out of its inertia state. And then the other key component we want to look at when making Ayurvedic herbal protocols is the ojas, and how in a body, if the ojas is depleted, what herbs we can use to restore that balance. So adaptogens are completely understood to strengthen the ojas, that vital energy responsible for our immunity and vitality and longevity. And while adaptogenic herbs work on the whole system, they also work on specific systems to support different organs and different systems. For example, the nervous system. Stress really, that's the origin. That's where stress manifests in our nervous system. And small amounts of acute stress actually helps us grow. It helps us to adapt to life. It's the chronic stress that's really the silent killer. And that's what leads to anxiety. It leads to insomnia, cognitive decline. There's been points in my life where I have been stressed, believe it or not, and I had really bad insomnia. And when you don't sleep, it's very hard to be in full cognition the next day. And your emotions, my emotions were running on high and reacting to things that really I had no business reacting to. They weren't really triggers. It was just due to these high levels of stress. So what the adaptogen is going to do here is regulate the neurotransmitter balance in the gut-brain axis, the gut-brain lymph axis, the glymphatic system, gut, lymph, and brain. And that will enhance both gut coherence and brain coherence and improve our memory and improve our focus. One of the reasons we lose that focus on a completely chemical biological level is stress creates oxidative stress in our neurons, and then they don't fire properly. So when we take adaptogens, it helps the neurons to fire properly, and it protects them against the oxidative stress. Now, getting into some of the herbs that we would typically use for the nervous system in Ayurveda, my personal favorite herb is ashwagandha. I don't go a day without ashwagandha. I know there's people who say you should cycle it, you should go on and off. I take ashwagandha every day. I've been doing that for a long time, small amounts every day. I notice such a profound benefit from it. What ashwagandha does is calms the nervous system. It reduces anxiety and it enhances memory. Its name translates directly to smell of a horse, but many translations are strength of a horse, and I feel that. If I'm feeling a little run down or weak, I'll take a big spoon of it. I'll take 5 to 10 grams, a heaping teaspoon, even a tablespoon, and mix it in some ghee or honey or some warm plant-based milk, because I don't drink milk myself. Warm it up and have some beautiful ashwagandha, and back in the game. Better than any coffee. Coffee I don't feel good on. Coffee, I think, weakens the system. It fries the nerves. From a sattvic perspective, it's anything but sattvic. Another really profound herb that I've had benefit from throughout my life for the nervous system is Brahmi. in the Western, we also have Gota Cola, but Brahmi is really the prime adaptogen here. And that improves all cognitive function, and it really reduces mental fatigue. And another herb that I really enjoy myself is rhodiola. And I take that pretty frequently as well because it increases our resilience to mental stress. It increases our resilience, at the same time enhances our mental focus. And people drink coffee for mental focus, but it's actually fake. It's making the adrenals pump so much adrenaline into the body. It's like an amphetamine. That's how it functions on the body. And it disrupts the gut microbiome. It disrupts serotonin and dopamine, and we think we're productive and valuable. It has nothing to do with that. Rhodiola is natural energy. I mean, what a combination. Putting all three of these together, ashwagandha, brahmi, rhodiola, I love it. Then looking at the endocrine system. Now, ultimately, these are one thing, but we do look at them individually as well. The adaptogens support the endocrine system through regulating our hormone production and mitigating the effects of the chronic stress on that HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And while those three herbs I just mentioned, the ashwagandha, brahmi, and rhodiola, do work on that, there's even more herbs specific for the endocrine system. My favorite for the endocrine system is Tulsi, holy basil. It regulates our cortisol levels. It supports all the glands of the endocrine system, especially the thyroid. If thyroid is hyper or hypo, it brings it into balance. Another one is Eleuthero ginseng, because that's going to strengthen our adrenal function and combat fatigue. At the same time, it's not stimulating the adrenals, it's tonifying them, it's strengthening them. And then another one is an herb that's commonly used for female reproductive system, shatavari, which is in the asparagus family. And it does balance the female reproductive hormones and can alleviate many female reproductive imbalances, but anyone can use it. Likewise, ashwagandha is often promoted as a male herb, but anyone can use it. It's not gender specific, although it does have incredible benefits for the female reproductive system. Shatavari can be used by men as well. From the endocrine system, we move on to the immune system. The reason now becomes that when we have chronic stress, this is what suppresses our immune system. And what we should normally, there's countless bacteria and viruses in the environment, and we should normally be able to fight off any of those. But when there's chronic stress, the body becomes super susceptible to things that we should normally be okay with. So another key component to adaptogen is that it enhances our immune resistance, our immune resilience, by stimulating or modulating those immunological responses. And here, my three favorite immune-enhancing adaptogens is Guduchi, Tinospora cordifolia, and a phenomenal booster of immunity and detoxification to the body. During the COVID times, I was using Guduchi all the time, both to prevent and to strengthen my immune system, and when I did get COVID, to help detox. Another favorite is Amalaki. Another name for Amalaki is Datri, which means the divine nurse. And this is one of nature's most potent sources of natural vitamin C. It is loaded with antioxidants. And again, the antioxidants build our defenses. It builds our immune system. And if we do become susceptible to those oxidative stresses, the Amalaki helps to remove it. And it's one of the three main ingredients of the most famous Ayurvedic formula, Triphala, which brings the three doshas into complete harmony. In fact, there's a saying in Ayurveda, if you have no mother and you're an orphan, but you have Triphala, your life will work out fine. That's how valuable that formula is. Amalaki is a key component to that. And another herb, it's not traditional in Ayurveda, but it's more in Chinese medicine, TCM, and Western medicine, is astragalus. I've used astragalus a lot throughout my life. Again, it's a powerful immune booster. It enhances our white blood cell activities, which supports resilience to infection. And it helps to regulate the T cells, NK cells, and B cells, the natural killer cells and immune cells. From the immune system, we then move on to the cardiovascular system, because stress dramatically impacts our heart health. What those stress hormones do is increase our blood pressure, and via the liver and the heart and the whole circulatory system, the whole cardiovascular system, it does often lead to higher levels of cholesterol. One of the reasons is that when we're stressed, the brain is working really hard. Cholesterol actually protects the brain. There's a lot of misinformation about cholesterol out there. That's not the subject of today's talk. Maybe someday we'll talk about that in depth. But when the body is completely stressed, our cholesterol levels do go up because we need to protect the brain. So cardiovascular adaptogens improve circulation while reducing oxidative stress again. There's 3 main herbs I like to use in this way as well. Number 1, the most famous Ayurvedic heart herb there is, Arjuna. And Arjuna, for those of you who are familiar with Vedic literature, was one of the heroes, Krishna, God, Bhagavan, and Arjuna, the main character, the guru-disciple relationship on the battlefield. So Arjuna is the heart herb. It strengthens the heart and improves all the arterial functions. So if there's high blood pressure, low blood pressure, it kind of regulates that. If there's buildup of plaque in the arteries, it helps with that. Just a phenomenal plant. We actually use the bark of the tree. It's a big tree, and we use that bark, so it's amazing. We also use mushrooms in Ayurveda. In yogic diets, it's not so encouraged. In yoga, all mushrooms are considered tamasic, but it's really not true. Mushrooms that grow on the ground tend to be more tamasic. They're growing out of decaying matter. But there's these group of mushrooms called polypores, and we will have whole discussions on mushrooms at some point. But these polypores grow on trees. They don't have gills, they have pores, and these are some of the highest, most potent medicines on the planet. So number 1 as an adaptogen is the reishi mushroom, Ganoderma. There's dozens, if not hundreds of species of Ganoderma all over the planet. But traditionally, the red reishi or the yellow reishi, black reishi, these reduce inflammation so fast, and it regulates cholesterol levels because it's super bitter. It's cleaning the liver, it's cleaning the blood. Just absolutely amazing medicine. And another herb that's more traditionally used in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, is schizandra berry. And that's also, it's protecting the heart against oxidative damage, oxidative stress, and it enhances the blood flow, which is great. It's also used in reproductive formulas for reproductive system, especially in males who suffer from impotency or not getting full erections, because it enhances the blood flow to the penile tissue. From the heart, the cardiovascular system, then we move on to the digestive system. And again, this is the gut-brain axis. This is the glymphatic system, the gut-lymph-brain axis. There's more lymph nodes, there's more immune cells, there's more nervous system cells in the gut than the rest of the body. The gut-brain axis is the link between stress and digestion. And adaptogens support our digestive health by improving the microbiome, improving gut motility, reducing inflammation. And remember, the gut is where we're producing 93% or more of our neurohormones and neurotransmitters, especially our serotonin and dopamine. That's how we stay happy. That's how we stay content. That's how we stay in a harmonic balance. There's a few key digestive adaptogens. So I was talking just a little while ago about Triphala. So Triphala is Amalaki, Harataki, Bibitaki. All 3 of those are adaptogens, but Triphala is the best formula because it regulates the 3 doshas, it regulates the 5 elements, it regulates the 6 tastes. It supports full power digestion as well as detoxification. And at some point we will discuss Triphala in depth as well. But ultimately, depending on how Triphala is consumed, it can support our digestion, it can support detoxification, it can function as a rasayana, a rejuvenative. There's infinite ways that Triphala can be used. Another powerful digestive herb, and this is one of my favorites. I actually love chewing on the stick. It's licorice root. In Sanskrit, it's called yashti madhu, the sweet stick. And what it does, the mucilaginous effect and the juices from it soothe the gut lining and reduce acid in the digestive tract. Especially good for acid reflux. But I'm Pitta constitution, and I do tend to be pretty hot in my gut, and I can get acidic as well, especially when I'm not following the guidelines 100%. So this licorice is just absolutely amazing for that. One precaution is if you do have high blood pressure, It can cause the blood pressure to increase, but it's improving the circulation, so it's moving the excess of heat and acidity out. But there should be a little caution there. They do make deglyceride licorice, which won't do that. If you're considering using licorice, maybe just look into that a little bit more. And then from South America, this beautiful root vegetable, which we use as an herb, maca root. Maca root is loaded with vitamins and minerals, and it incredibly enhances our digestive energy as well as nutrient absorption. And it takes those nutrients deep into the tissue, into the musculoskeletal system. It gives profound energy to the body. I saved maca for the end because now we go into the musculoskeletal system. So what happens when there is stress in the musculoskeletal system is we have a lot of muscle tension and we are fatigued and the muscles feel so heavy. What normally feels like your arm just lifting up, it feels like you've got 20-pound weights on it. And the body is fatigued and it's inflamed. And when we use herbs, adaptogenic herbs, it enhances our recovery time, first of all, especially if we're doing a lot of physical activity, we're doing a lot of energetic activity, we're really using our bodies well. We need recovery, and adaptogenic herbs really do that. And like all the other categories, it reduces the oxidative stress. In Ayurveda, the primary adaptogen used is turmeric. Haridra, the golden light of consciousness, because it reduces the inflammation and it supports the joint health. We will have a whole talk on turmeric as well. We're going to have a whole herbal section going through so many different herbs. But for now, turmeric, it's one of the greatest anti-inflammatories and it supports the joints' connective tissue. It provides deep nutrition to the body. Another one is gotu-kola, which is in the same kind of family. It's like a cousin to Brahmi. But what gotu-kola is doing specifically is supporting our tissue repair while reducing fatigue as well in the musculoskeletal system and in the brain. And another mushroom here for the musculoskeletal system is cordyceps. It enhances our muscle endurance and recovery time. It releases ATP into the body. It releases so much energy into the body. Once, when I was young, I was hiking in Nepal, and we had porters. I was with a group. We had porters. And these guys were like half my size and wearing paper-thin flip-flops. And they were carrying these huge packs. I couldn't even pick up the pack at the time. It was so heavy. They're carrying these packs on their back, and we're not really carrying anything. Maybe a little day pack. Climbing, we're at 15,000 feet. And we're winded just by walking, and they're not even breathing hard, carrying these massive weights on their back. And then we get to camp, and they set everything up, and they prepare the dinner, all this. Like, how is it that you guys have so much energy in doing it? They're eating this cordyceps mushrooms. They're eating these mushrooms that give them so much energy back to the body. So the muscles don't fatigue. It oxygenates the blood, the brain, and the muscles. And then I fell in love with cordyceps. Next system we want to look at, breathing. The respiratory system, right? So whether you're at sea level or at altitude, we need to breathe. Adaptogens improve our respiratory function first and foremost by the reduction of inflammation, and second is enhancing the utilization of the oxygen that's there. Again, licorice root, Yashti Madhu, soothes the respiratory tract as well as the digestive system, so it reduces inflammation there, so we can get more oxygen and we can take more coherent breaths. L-campaign or push caramel, it's a beautiful lung herb. It clears mucus and clears the channels in the lungs so we can breathe properly. And then probably most people have heard of this. Anyone who's listened to anything about Ayurveda has heard of this one. It's one of the most famous formulas of all, Chaiwanya Prash. It was named after a rishi, Chaiwanya, who made this combination for immunity, for longevity, for cell rejuvenation. It's a combination of a bunch of herbs. One of the main herbs in there is amalaki, and with ghee and some organic raw cane sugar, which is filled with minerals and a whole bunch of other herbs. But this Ayurvedic tonic, it's also a rasayana. It's so rich in antioxidants, and it does support the lung health, but it supports the whole immune system, the whole endocrine system. There's really nothing it doesn't work on. So those are the main systems of the body and how adaptogens work on them. Now we can take a look at some of the unique properties of some of these herbs and how they work on the body. So number one, ashwagandha. And again, its key benefits are that it reduces cortisol while enhancing immunity and improving our stamina. So traditionally in Ayurveda, we're using it for stress management, adrenal fatigue. And ashwagandha is really cool. As an adaptogen, we can take it at any time of the day. In the morning, we take it and we're filled with energy most of the day. And then we can take it at night for a great night's sleep. It's just amazing that way. And then as far as how ashwagandha works on the specific doshas, it's completely balancing for vata and kapha. For a pitta constitution, taken in excess, it will increase pitta. Not like eating the hottest chilies on the planet, but it's going to increase pitta because it is warming, which vata and kapha tend to have more coldness than pitta does. So, pitta just has to do it in moderation. Then looking at Tulsi, the holy basil, it's also reducing anxiety. All adaptogens reduce anxiety, but it promotes mental clarity. It's really good also for balancing blood sugar. A lot of times when we're stressed, what do? We go for the sweet taste. Try a cup of Tulsi tea next time. And again, amazing for managing stress, improving resilience, and it balances vata and kapha. And it's cooling for pitta. So amazing, amazing plant for pitta. And here's a great way. Put Tulsi and ashwagandha together, and then you have a neutral temperature. Rhodiola, we talked a little bit, enhances mental focus. It reduces our fatigue and boosts that physical stamina. So athletes use rhodiola a lot. It's super good for high-performance environments and high-performance environments that require cognitive enhancement. One of my favorite sports is basketball. It requires so much endurance and it requires a high level of intelligence and intuition. I've seen just miraculous behind the back, no look passes, under legs, just crazy stuff. The level of physical and mental stamina these players must have is unbelievable. I imagine some of them must be taking rhodiola. If not, if you know any basketball players out there, give them my number. I'm happy to help them. And then as far as the doshas go, for the most part, it balances vata and kapha, vata and pitta. Kapha, it's kind of neutral, but it's going to balance all three doshas. But for the most part, you want to give it to a vata and pitta. For vata and pittas in high performance environments, they're going to fatigue quicker than a kapha is. A kapha may not be doing it as quick as a vata or pitta, but vata and pitta will fatigue before a kapha. So that's why it's a little bit better for vata and pitta dosha. And then the shatavari nourishes the female reproductive system. And even for breastfeeding women, it enhances lactation. That's such a crucial thing. And as well, it cools inflammation in the body. It does provide hormonal balance, not just for women, predominantly for women, but not just for women. And it supports fertility, both for men and women. A lot of times, in men, the reason that the sperm is weak or it's not produced well is because the reproductive system is too hot. So the shatavari cools that down. And it balances vata and pitta and it increases kapha. It's an earth root substance. And so it's increasing the earth element for sure. And then, again, turmeric it's an anti-inflammatory. It supports liver detoxification, colon detoxification, blood detoxification, improves our joint health, anything inflammation related, and general wellness. Turmeric is just a general miracle herb, and it's tridoshic. All three doshas are balanced by it. Now I want to go into the adaptogenic mushrooms a little more. And again, I think we will have a whole class on this at some point, go really in depth into the science of mushrooms. But there's a few mushrooms that I just absolutely adore. And I actually made a formula that's available on the amashop.org called the 5 treasures. And this is these 5 treasures. Reishi number 1. And its nickname is the mushroom of immortality. It calms the nervous system. Like ashwagandha, you can use it in the daytime for energy. You can use it at nighttime for sleep. It is so strengthening to the immune system and it provides that resilience against stress. It is very bitter, but it's slightly warming. A lot of times the bitter is cooling. Pittas do great with bitter because of its cooling effect, but this is unique because it's bitter, but it's a little bit warming. So if you have chronic stress or insomnia or fatigue, or you just need energetic heart-centered healing, reishi is just phenomenal. Cordyceps. There's two main types of cordyceps, Cordyceps militaris and sinensis. Doesn't matter. Both of them do the same thing. And we're going to use them for fatigue, adrenal burnout especially. Cordyceps is best for adrenal burnout. And like I was saying, endurance athletes can do this. If you have low libido, lung issues. It works on everything. Remember, because it's boosting stamina. It boosts energy. It strengthens our libido, whether you're male, female, or anything in between. It improves our oxygen intake. Amazing. The most potent antioxidant we know of on the planet is chaga mushroom. It grows on birch trees only in colder environments. It's literally the most potent antioxidant. And there's so much research on its anti-cancer properties, antiviral properties. It's an immunomodulator. And like turmeric, it reduces inflammation and supports detoxification. One of the greatest substances for longevity. And the cool thing is we depend on Mother Nature for it. We can't really grow it. We have to get only what Mother Nature provides for us. So we need to take care of Mother Nature so she can take care of us. I think my very favorite of all is lion's mane. When I've had the blessing throughout my life to be in places where lion's mane is growing wild. And when you find that, you come across a tree with a big lion's mane on it, it's like having God's blessing burst open my heart and brain. If you don't know what lion's mane looks like, go on Google or whatever search engine and look at images of lion's mane. It's so beautiful. It's one of the only things that has natural brain-derived neurogrowth factor. It regenerates our brain cells. It's neuroregenerative. It enhances our cognition. It supports memory, focus, everything brain-related. You have brain fog. You need to reduce your anxiety. It prevents and helps to heal early cognitive decline. All nervous system repair. Now, there's some debate whether it's actually a traditional true adaptogen or not, but most of the time it is included because it's stress buffering effects on the nervous system. So you may look it up and say, it's not classified truly as an adaptogen. What are you talking about? It's true that it wasn't traditionally classified that way, but we use it that way anyway. And then turkey tail. Oh my God, if you see this picture also, it comes in so many different colors. It's also anti-cancer. They're using it in Japan. There's molecules in that turkey tail. They're using it in Japan for breast cancer, for colon cancer, for colorectal cancer, even pancreas cancer if it's caught early on enough. It has these different molecules that are antiviral, antifungal. Ultimately, it's an immunomodulator. It's antiviral. It repairs the human gut microbiome, these tight junctions in our gut where the villi grow, where all these neurohormones and neurotransmitters are produced. When the tight junctions are broken, we get IBS, we get celiac, we get all these gut-related diseases. Turkey tail repairs that. So any kind of immune weakness, any kind of chronic infections, if we have post-viral fatigue, turkey tail is amazing. Post-COVID, if the whole world had turkey tail, wow, we would have healed so quickly. And then another one is maitake, which is known as hen of the woods. Maitake, again, it's an amazing immune support. It supports liver health, regeneration of the liver, and it also balances our blood sugar. It's phenomenal for any kind of metabolic imbalance, any kind of immunological imbalance, and it also is regulating hormones, male or female hormones. So these are, I would say, the top 6 adaptogens as far as mushrooms go. So whether you're using mushrooms or Ayurvedic herbs, roots, leaves, barks, how would we incorporate these into our daily life? Ultimately, the most simple way would be to make herbal teas. Take some Tulsi, take some licorice, take some of the 5 treasures medicinal mushrooms or any individual mushroom, mix some Ashwagandha, Maca in there, make a tea, make a warm milk. If you're vegetarian or vegan and don't do milk, then do a plant milk with some almond milk. Beautiful. Or make your own nut or seed milks. Fantastic. Another way traditionally is called churnams, powders. And we would take the ashwagandha powder, the amalaki powder, triphala powder. We can put it in water. We can put it in with herbal milks. Nowadays, everyone's into smoothies. So you can even put these herbs in your smoothie. That's great. They can be mixed with ghee or honey, make a paste out of them. It's also very popular to do capsules or tablets. Now, in Ayurveda, tablets called gulika or vati or gati, these were used for thousands of years, just for the sake of ease and bioavailability. Capsules, if you're using a capsule, you need to be careful. These gelatin capsules don't really break down in the body. If you're going to use a capsule, use a plant-based vegetable cellulose capsule. But even if you're using capsules, it's good occasionally, maybe once a week or twice a week, take the herbs out of the capsule, put it on your tongue, experience the taste. Having taste, the six tastes, stimulates the digestive enzymes. Just tasting things stimulates an immune response. So if we're taking capsules just because we don't want to taste it, be brave, put a little bit on your tongue occasionally just to experience it. And then dietary integration of herbs like the Chaiwanyaprash. We can take a spoon of that Chaiwanyaprash, that ancient mixture, and take it with the meals to improve our digestion in any situation. So this is the overview of adaptogens. Really, adaptogenic herbs bridge a gap between the ancient Ayurvedic wisdom and what our modern health needs are, especially due to the increased stress, the increased electromagnetic frequency, toxins everywhere. When we harmonize the stress response and when we support the various organ systems, we have resilience, we have immunity, and that's crucial for our holistic wellness. These herbs play a vital role in that. They promote our resilience, they promote our immunity, they promote our detoxification pathways to be open and free-flowing. As our world keeps looking for more and more natural solutions to manage all the challenges of modern life, these adaptogens that are backed by centuries of ancient Ayurvedic wisdom offer really a path to balance and vitality. There's no way to stay in balance and health when we're under chronic stress. Using these herbs is a tool. We need to have other tools as well, having a daily meditation practice, having a daily breathing practice, exercise, good night's sleep, good nutritious food. These are all essential to it. We can do whatever we can. The herbs are a tool. Mother Earth has provided her love and compassion to us in the form of plants to help us along the way. But it's not the only solution. And if we're stressed in every other level of life and we're not doing anything else good in our life, the herbs can only do so much. To get the grace of the herbs, we need to put in self-effort in all the other areas of our life. That is today's discussion on adaptogenic herbs. I hope you got some benefit of it. If you enjoyed this show, if you find that it was of value, share it with people you love, your family, your friends, your community. And as always, please share your comments here. Share your experience using these herbs. How have you used these herbs? What scenarios in your life have you used these herbs? Are there herbs that you're using on a daily basis? When you share your comments, when you share your experience, when you share your life's wisdom, we all have wisdom. Share what you know. In this community forum, it can be a discussion that allows all of us to continue to grow, to expand our awareness, to expand our wisdom, and then we can keep sharing that and sharing that. And we can work towards a world of health and harmony and consciousness together. Until next time, thank you for joining me sincerely from the depth of my heart. May you walk in balance, may you walk in peace, may you be in health and ever-expanding radiant consciousness. Namaste.